Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And that's why we're honored to be talking about ideas. Literally, we're honored to have with us Gabrielle Thompson, President and CEO of Ideas. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, when you talk about changing the world, it starts with ideas, and ideas in this case is an acronym. So give us a little bit of history and some background for ideas.
Great. Thank you, Jeremy. So IDEAS means International Development and Educational Associates. We were started in 1997 with really a heart to go into at the time, some of the harder places that people were not really working in. So that would include Africa, the Middle East. That was really our focus area. And we really wanted to be able to bring change to those communities that were really considered the unseen. So communities that were not really being touched by other organizations, not really interacting with any sort of capacity building, resources, et cetera. And so we've been now at this work for almost 30 years and have seen incredible impact.
When you look at things like fighting poverty, malnutrition and nourishment, there's a lot around education, agriculture, health and wellness. So go ahead and start diving into all the areas that you focus on.
Yes. So just to kind of hit us off a little bit. So really what we believe in at Ideas is we believe in the power that healthy communities and flourishing people can make across the globe. And so really what we do through our work, which I'll get into in a second, is we work to restore societal and relational flourishing through community development. And like I was saying, this is where we really work to see the unseen and help empower the realization of one's own dignity. And so that really focuses on some of those marginalized groups that you were mentioning, those living in poverty, those with severe disabilities, refugees, vulnerable women and children, and any ostracized groups. And so what we do is we start by going into the community, we listen to them, we come alongside them, hear what their needs are, and actually engage their giftings and resources by then providing our expertise in the areas of agriculture, education, health and wellness, disability services, and anti-human trafficking. So that can really take a lot of different forms. So one example of that would be in rural Bangladesh, we have a clinic there that actually provides care to thousands of people because it's the only medical facility within about 500 miles. And so that is really where we're able to, people that are birthing children that have diseases are really able to come and receive that care. Or another example of that would be we work with the Dalit populations in India, really helping empower them to have some sort of financial independence, really learning to, again, gain back their own dignity through skills and actually creating their own livelihood, and then teaching them about how to avoid trafficking. And so we really like to bring in a multi-sectored approach when we address things like relational and societal poverty.
I know that the anti-trafficking plays a really important role throughout. Touch on that a little bit in terms of kind of that being a bedrock piece. And I know for you personally, that's a big focus area as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, and we were just talking, I was on this show before because I had worked in anti-trafficking for a decade, and really in that work of trafficking, and I think a lot of people recognize this now, that a lot of times it's not someone being taken that actually causes trafficking. It's root causes within a community that create trafficking. And really what I call those root causes are the vulnerabilities within communities. And so we all have vulnerabilities, but in other areas of the world, especially in places where they do experience extreme poverty, they do have lack of educational resources, that is when trafficking really comes into play and becomes something that can really plague an entire community and society. And so the work of ideas, how we play a role in anti-trafficking, is that because we're already working at that ground level of community development, we're working to really engage the community to help them flourish. The trafficking piece is necessary because if there's trafficking within a community, there is no ability for them to flourish. There is no ability for them to really step into having our vision, which is experiencing abundant life. And so we really come alongside them in not only bringing in prevention techniques for trafficking, but also helping empower them with things like training them how to do appropriate agricultural practices, how to grow crops, education. And so it's paired, the trafficking piece is paired with the other elements that we have in community development to really make a strong community and a strong society.
I like that you take an asset-based approach, going back to what you said originally. It starts with a conversation with the community around what do you need? What do you have? What do you need? And you've got a team that physically goes, and you can see them on the website with the team members. Touch on that aspect of really having those conversations, but having the physical presence there to be able to create these opportunities and transformation.
That's so good. So I think I love that you brought up the asset-based resources part, because oftentimes when people think about, oh, I want to serve someone in another country, they think about giving them something, providing a resource, giving them aid. But we really believe that it actually takes away, it disempowers people when you just give them things, and it actually doesn't create sustainable change within that entire community and culture. And so we really like to shift an approach. Sometimes it takes a lot longer, but really focusing on what strengths does this community have? What do they already bring? And so sometimes what that will include is we actually do asset mapping within the entire community, where we will actually lay out what are the assets within this community? What are the assets within each individual? Who are the leaders within this space? What do they bring to the table, and how can we engage this? So that's really important for us, because when we have staff, they live all over the globe and they really embed themselves in the community. So one of the things that we're really passionate about is doing long-term care. And so you'll see when you went on our website, we have some people that have lived, for example, in Kazakhstan for 2 decades and really embedding themselves in those communities. And that really builds trust. So you can't really do asset-based care unless you're actually building trust within the community, where they know that they actually have that they are empowered themselves by knowing that they have value that they can bring, and that they know that they actually have the capacity to shift pieces within their community. So we just walk alongside them in that process.
You mentioned the disability services. Touch on some of those aspects.
Oh, thank you. So we actually just hit over 2,000 wheelchairs that we provided in both Africa and in Latin America. And this is incredible because we actually have a custom-built wheelchair that is customizable to any body type and frame. And so why that's important is because children, really here in the United States, we see there's kind of 2 types of wheelchairs. There's an adult wheelchair, there's a child wheelchair, but it's not adjustable based on the body. And oftentimes when a child is born with a severe disability, they may not grow at the same speed as a child that may not be born with disabilities. And so it's really important to have that custom fit, so also that they can be upright and that they can actually digest food appropriately, because that's another challenge with a child with disabilities, is that, oftentimes in places that don't have access to this, don't have access to wheelchairs, don't have the resources for it, they may lay on the floor for their entire lives until they're fit in a wheelchair, or have to be strapped to a chair to eat at the dinner table. And that's very common with the children that we serve around the world. And so this wheelchair is custom fit to them. It's also adjustable. So it lasts a minimum of 5 years. And the parents, we train the parents, we give them the tools, physical tools, to be able to adjust the wheelchair themselves for the child as they grow, which is really incredible. It also reclines so that they can be in a comfortable position. It can go forward, it can go backwards. And it's really been, I think that people underestimate the power of a wheelchair being able to not only transform the life of a child, opening the doors to school, to education, to community, to relationships, but also for the families. Oftentimes it's one caregiver that takes care of the entire child. And so they don't have the opportunity to really engage with the rest of their children, their family, opportunities for jobs, employment. And so this really shifts the entire structure of the family. And there's one woman that we work with in Guatemala. She actually works for our wheelchair manufacturing factory. That's where all of our wheelchairs are manufactured, are in Guatemala. And we actually met her when she was a teenager. She had been abandoned by her parents because she was born with spina bifida. And she was just completely heartbroken, didn't even felt so isolated, so alone. And we fit her into a wheelchair. Now she's in college. She's financially independent, works for us. And her goal in life is to help other children that felt the way that she did, to really know that they are loved, they have value, and that they can have an independent life and have relationships. So it's really incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. So over 2,000 wheelchairs. You mentioned the stats for the health clinic. What are some other statistics that warm your heart?
Oh, yes, I would love to share some. So I'll just say in 2023, so just in the last year that we've had, working in 14 countries, we were able to impact the lives of 17,000 children and adults, and in such vast ways, ranging from all of our programmatic areas. But really, when we look at the composition of the last 27 years, just some amazing things that really warm my heart. So a lot of places do not have access to clean water. And we were able to, in Bangladesh and China, work in some of the most impoverished villages there, to where now over 29,000 people in communities have clean, reliable water, which of course contributes to health, hygiene, and their entirety of their well-being. So that's really incredible. We also work a lot with refugees. We work with a variety of types of refugees. We want to help all of them. And so we've been able to help over 6,000 refugee families in West Asia and the Middle East be able to receive those basic needs, the supplies, medical care, as well as language care, and helping them with any sort of legal, medical, and educational resources that we have available to them. We also, as I mentioned, the clinics, which is an incredible piece when you think about the necessity of healthcare and the provision of healthcare that we have to have. So in those areas of Bangladesh, we've helped over 21,000 adults and children in these impoverished areas to be able to receive their healthcare that they had no access to previously. And then one thing that we do that I think is really fascinating and very unique is that we work in former Soviet Union country in Kazakhstan, and we actually help empower farmers to actually train them in how to have better agricultural approaches. And so this actually not only increases crop yields, but also develops job skills and sustainable incomes, which then help the quality of life for those families and individuals. And I think that, one point with all of the work that we do is that we may provide a resource here, but it's for the goal of actually deepening in a holistic way all other areas of their life. And so that's why our work is very holistic and very full-centered, because we might provide one need here, but really our goal is to be able to meet their spiritual, intellectual, physical, and social needs through the work that we do and through long-term care that results in those communities being sustainable. So that's really what we're passionate about as an organization.
So how can the community help your efforts?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So there's actually quite a few ways. First, you can sign up for our newsletter, which we would love. So you can get the latest news and updates if you visit our website, which is ideasworld.org, and sign up for our newsletter there. The other thing too is, I know that it is said a lot, but truly for all nonprofit organizations, the giving of whatever someone has in their capacity and really the generosity of someone's heart is really what enables us to do our work. And so I would say, if you are interested in changing the trajectory of an entire community or individual's life, we would be honored to have you as a financial partner. The third way is we do offer a vision trip. So the story I just shared about Alma, we lead week-long vision trips to Guatemala, and we actually take professionals. They don't have to have healthcare backgrounds, that really just are passionate about our work, and we do mobile clinics in Guatemala. So if you're interested in joining us on a vision trip, we're leading one in 2025, and we'd love for you to join us. And then the last way I would say is we are also always looking for experts within our areas of agriculture, anti-trafficking, community development, education, health and wellness, and disability care to really come alongside us. We offer short-term opportunities, long-term opportunities where you can go and serve those communities for a period of time. And so we'll walk you through that process. So if you're interested, just go to our Get Involved page on our website.
Give me one more thing that you wish everyone knew about ideas.
The one thing I wish everyone knew about ideas is that we are really powered by professionals that are highly trained, very talented. A lot of them have higher education, degrees, and certifications, but they have chosen to, instead of going on the traditional path of, let's say, being an accountant here in the United States and serving their clients, that they instead want to serve marginalized populations around the world to better understand their finances. And so really our entire community is comprised of people that have made hard sacrifices and are so dedicated to seeing communities flourish and individuals thrive and communities truly transformed, that they have dedicated their entire lives, moved their entire families across the world, and they really motivate me. They're the reason that we exist. They're the reason that we can do our work in such a holistic and intentional way, because they live there and they're there every day with those people. And so they're a reason that I continue my work, and just really an incredible and unique part of who Ideas is.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, when you go on and you look at the team online, it's inspiring and it's impressive. So wrap up with website, where we can go to learn more and get involved with Ideas.
Absolutely. So you can go to ideasworld.org for our website. And then both our Instagram and LinkedIn are under Ideas, which is an acronym. So all caps. And Instagram is ideas.community.development. And we hope to see you there.
Absolutely. Well, Gabrielle, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.